Sir, thanks for joining us. How you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
Good, thank you. We appreciate you making time for us today.
My pleasure.
So going in tonight, what makes you confident you're going to win North Carolina?
You know, I feel the energy on the ground. I see the rallies. I see what I've been able to, see with my own eyes. Even the stuff that I was doing by myself without my father. The turnout, the energy, the enthusiasm is so incredible. I mean, these are Americans that are excited that we finally have a politician that did the things he ran on, that accomplished the goals that he set out for himself. Americans are excited to see that. They like that versus, again, Joe Biden's 47 years in the swamp. Name a single Joe Biden accomplishment. Just one. I'll wait. You're not going to start now. Joe Biden's not getting into his groove after half a century. Donald Trump made promises to the American people in 2016, and he's delivered on those promises. He continues to do that, and that's what Americans want. Donald Trump created the strongest economy America's ever known, created the lowest levels of unemployment, the highest number of new startup business. He's taken on big pharma to lower consumer drug prices in America. He's pulling us out of the endless wars, and he's banging out peace deals in the Middle East like they're going out of style. He's got 4 of them. It's unheard of. That level of accomplishment is going to be good for America and for their future. And when you compare and contrast that to Joe Biden, who's beholden to the radical left, frankly, who's beholden to China, to Russia, to Ukraine, to all these other things, that big tech is doing whatever they can to censor and prevent Americans from seeing, that should scare all Americans because our freedom of speech is on the line when big tech can censor a 200-year-old newspaper because they want Joe Biden to win. That should scare all of us, and that's why everyone needs to get out there and to vote.
So the Supreme Court has given North Carolina more time to count absentee ballots, up until November 12th now. Your dad has bashed that decision. What do you tell people who might be feeling like you don't want their vote to count?
We want everyone's vote to count, but it's not like Election Day magically sprung up and, it's November 3rd. People have known this has been this way for 100 years. And when you see what's happened with the Democrats in so many cases where, the Republicans are winning, and then magically 2 days later, the exact amount of ballots that was the deficiency plus 1 show up, and they all happen to be Democrats. They're found in someone's truck. We just want a fair election. That this has to go on for weeks after the fact, it doesn't lead me to believe that. When I see the Democrats pushing for, the big thing, we don't want the signature on an absentee ballot to have to match the signature of that registered voter that's on file. Why? Why not? I mean, unless you're planning on cheating, I can't think of another possible reason. So it's that gamesmanship that is upsetting to us. That shouldn't be the case. We want a fair election. And if we get a fair election based on the results and based on Donald Trump's accomplishments, I think you win hands down.
So going into tonight, what are the benchmarks for your campaign on when you will declare victory or admit defeat?
I guess it depends on what happens. I mean, we got to see what's going on. Like I said, it feels really good there right now, and Republicans turn up on Election Day. That's when they vote. They understandably are skeptical of some of the things in the election process, so they tend not to vote early. They tend not to want to do it mail-in. They want to vote in person. And based on what I've seen so far, that looks really good. If our guys turn up and they show up to vote, we're going to do really well in North Carolina and elsewhere in the country. But they have to get out there and vote. They can't have apathy. They can't hope for someone else to do it. They have to understand that their basic freedoms are on the line. And, this isn't, the traditional Democrat Party anymore. I mean, this isn't your grandparents' Democrat Party. This is a radical Marxist party. It's been taken over by the left. It's why Joe Biden has Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders' platform and Beto O'Rourke as your guns are, and they listen to AOC and Rashida Tlaib. This isn't the Democrat Party that used to represent hardworking blue-collar Americans anymore. That party is gone. It's now a radical Marxist organization, and we got to make sure we prevent that from taking over the country. Because once you lose those freedoms that big tech and mainstream media are trying to prevent from Americans from having anymore so they can push their California agenda, once you lose that, you don't get it back. You never get it back, guys. So vote like your freedoms depend on it, because I believe that they do.
Here in the Triad, we are the birthplace of the sit-in movement. Race relations have always been a top voting issue. What will the president do now at this point to cross racial divides?
Well, listen, the president has been doing it. Joe Biden, as it relates to race relations, he's saying he's going to fix things. Why did he wait 47 years? Seriously, why wait almost half a century? He was buddies with every segregationist to ever walk the halls of Congress. He talked about young African Americans being super predators. He said and campaigned on that he didn't want his kids going to school in a racial jungle. He then pushed the '94 crime bill, which put so many young African Americans in prison for 30 years for smoking weed. And didn't just destroy their lives, destroyed the lives of their children who grew up in fatherless households. So Joe Biden has no basis for this. Donald Trump didn't campaign in 2016, but he put forth prison reform, the First Step Act, opportunity zones. Donald Trump righted the wrongs of Joe Biden's disastrous policies. Donald Trump did that. He didn't do it because it was part of the platform. He did it because it was the right thing to do. And I think that's why you're going to see unprecedented turnout in the African American community, because they recognize that all Joe Biden's been doing for 47 years is pandering. You know, if I was Joe Biden, I would have utilized that half a century to do something positive for that community. But he didn't do that. He didn't utilize his 8 years as vice president to the first African American president to do that. No, he did nothing. He just talks like a typical politician. He's done nothing to help that community. I can't imagine that too many of them would want to give him his vote if they actually heard that. Now, again, it's hard to get through sort of when you have a long history of just sort of blindly voting Democrat. But if you look at the policies that Donald Trump has put into effect, they're incredible for that very community. And I think they should be aware of that. And again, if they did, they'd be voting for Trump.
So everyone I know, Republican, Democrat, they are all stressed about tonight. What do you tell them to calm them down?
Well, listen, I say, go out and vote your values. Vote for results for America. If you can name a Joe Biden accomplishment, if you have people on the fence, name a Joe Biden accomplishment. And if you can't, isn't that part of the problem? I mean, you have a president right now that's delivered results for America. We're out of the endless wars. We're getting peace deals done in the Middle East. We're doing so much beyond the economy that he took and made the strongest that we've ever seen. The guy that can do that is the guy that can do it again. Vote accordingly. And as for the stress, let's hope there's no gamesmanship. That's why we want people to be able to vote, get it done on election day, not allow these things to be played out over weeks and months. You notice the Democrats, they haven't focused on a ground game. They've focused on the legal battle so that their election starts on November 4th. Again, that's not part of the Democrat process that we know. That's pretty sad. And it should scare all Americans because they're making a mockery of our system.
Down to the wire here, give us your final 10-second push for the voters on why they should pick your side.
Guys, vote for results. Vote for the guy that gets things done, not for the guy that's been talking about it for 47 years. We have plenty of politicians that are all talk and no action. You have an anomaly. You have something rare right now with a president that is willing to fight the establishment, who's willing to fight the special interest, who isn't owned and beholden by the special interest and corrupt foreign governments, unlike the Bidens. You'll never hear about those things because big tech, social media, mainstream media is in the pocket of the Democrats. But think about the results and the accomplishment that this president has and go vote accordingly.
Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, guys.